Sort my quiff out, man. We're getting all long hair, dear. There we go.
Look like Jedward before long.
We both look like Jedward. This, right? Hello and welcome to podcast number 56. Hello, Croeso podcast. Rhif Pimp Deb Chwech. My name's Gareth Evans. I'm joined by Mr. Henry Self-Isolation Cooper. How's it going, Mr. Henry Cooper?
I'm alright. Still self-isolating. Not been too bored yet. I mean, my life hasn't been that changed other than working. Working here, I still do the same shit. Just sit and play video games all day.
It's kind of good. But yeah, this is the pretty good gaming podcast for those of you who aren't familiar. Today we're going to go through a bunch of stuff and trying not to let our hair get in our eyes because it's getting pretty long now. I was overdue a haircut.
Wear hair product for the first time in like 2 weeks because it's just flopping down all over my face.
Wow. Yeah, I got stock up on hair product. Never mind the bog rolls, innit?
No, you can live without that shit.
Right, so we are going to look at the run order for today to begin with. We're going to talk about the order, which Henry's been playing. Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. Hell yeah, baby. It's finally here, and I'm super excited. I'll be talking about that soon. We'll be talking about some other games we were playing, taking some Discord questions from the Patreon community. After that, we'll be going to the Triggered Fanboy comments of the week, which is a doozy this week. Reading some other of the best YouTube comments from our channel over the week. After that, finally, bad dad joke of the week, and we'll see what the tin brings for that one.
The legendary tin.
The legendary tin. Okay, Henry, you've been playing the Order 1886, right? What? Why?
What? Yeah. So this is a game that came out in February 2015, and just before Doom came out. And just before everything started coming out, there was fuck all going on. So I was like, well, let's play some other stuff. Let's play an old game that everyone hated. Everyone hated the Order 1886 back in 2015. And I get why. I certainly get why. It's got a whole lot of problems which I'll get into, but I thought, hey, let's give it a chance. It's now £8 secondhand in CEX. Why not? Like, what have I really got to lose? When I say people hated it, even that's perhaps a bit harsh. I think a lot of people just didn't really give a shit because it's almost painfully average, the game altogether. It's got 63 on Metacritic and it's a PS4 exclusive, and when it launched it was kind of one of the first big budget PS4 games right at the start of the generation, and it was probably the first big flop for Sony and probably the biggest exclusive flop they've had all generation. Probably. I can't think of anything else that has come out and been quite so controversial. So it had a lot of the similar criticisms to Infamous Second Son, which was also a PS4 exclusive that did all right. Infamous Second Son's reasonable. It's just full of a lot of open-worldy tropes, and it doesn't do anything particularly new, doesn't do anything innovative. And at the start of a generation, if you're playing games that you could have played last generation on the equipment you already had, you kind of feel a bit let down. So I kind of get that. But the Order's pretty much all but been forgotten. Like, no one talks about it. It's in the pantheon of, PlayStation 4 exclusives and all the characters they've got. No one ever brings up the Order. I mean, you sometimes see the main character like tucked away in the back of a poster, but not often. He's a lonely guy.
The only thing I've ever heard about the Order 1886 is that it was a really short game and everyone complained that it was a big letdown. That's literally, I mean, I've never played it and I've never heard, I've never seen it, but, people talk about it for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah. That was the extent I knew about it. I knew that it had a cool looking setting, and I was watching it when it was first being trailered and hyped up and stuff, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And then it came out and I was like, oh, that's not pretty cool. You're not pretty good. So what exactly is it? So it's a third-person cover shooter, and we've all played those before, and you've definitely played this one before. The fundamental gameplay it provides you has been done much better elsewhere, namely games like Gears of War, which helped invent that sort of subgenre. It's set in a fictionalized version of Victorian London in 1886, which is one of the reasons I was really interested in it, because I like that period. It's all very like steampunky. Everything is kind of grimy and dirty, but also very extravagant and over the top and gothic. It features the latest incarnation of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, and they've obviously moved with the time, so it's kind of thinking, well, what would a knight be like if it wasn't in, the 11th century and came forward into the 19th century and had different weapons and whatnot instead of swords. And their job is to kill werewolves, which the game's marketing sort of half teased to try and they didn't make it abundantly clear that that's what it was. It was like, well, there's these mystery monsters. What are they? They're werewolves. There's not anything else more interesting about them. They're just werewolves. But again, that sounds pretty cool. All the steampunk weapons and shit. That sounds solid, but it's not. The gameplay itself is super dull and just uninspired. It's exactly the kind of thing you've played before. Super generic third-person cover shooting. And oh my god, there's a lot of walking. So many games, especially your narrative story-driven ones, they like to give you that bit where you're not fighting anyone, but you're not quite in a cutscene, so they're just going to have you walk 10 meters and not run at full speed. They physically slow you down and just make you talk and listen to someone talking or whatever. There's so much of that in this game. There's so much. The amount of times it takes away control from you. It's worse than a Kojima thing for doing that, because Kojima always gets flack for just make a movie, man. Just make a movie.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, right, we're gonna have a cutscene. You're breaking into a house, and right, you can have a little bit of chit chat with your teammates. Then you're gonna walk through a corridor, maybe interact with a newspaper which you can pick up and not do anything with. You can turn it around and ooh, look, isn't that pretty? You can't even fucking read it really because the font is really small and it doesn't do the thing which a lot of modern games do when you find these environmental objects. Well, if it's written in handwriting, there's no fucking way you can read that. It's all swirly and fancy. We're too underdeveloped for that shit now. So they'll give you, a actual text, a digitized version. Fucking none of that. You can pick it up and look at some squiggles and then put it down again. Nothing happens. And then you get another cutscene. So that little bit of gameplay is then immediately replaced with a cutscene. So when shit like that happens, I'm like, right, either make the entire thing a cutscene and don't give me control when I don't need it and I can't do anything interesting in terms of interactivity, or better yet, make the whole thing a gameplay sequence and make it interesting and give me a reason to interact with these things and something to learn rather than you just telling me it, rather than just constant exposition. And that's exactly what Kojima's famous for, but this game does that to a whole different level. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, the fundamental shooting in the actual gameplay, the shooting feels fine. The enemies are quite responsive. When you shoot them, they'll recoil and headshot and feels nice. That's when you can get a headshot, because the aiming, I don't know what it is, it feels really inaccurate. And I hate circular crosshairs because that's a very imprecise sort of spot for your bullet to go. If there's a cross, it's going in the middle. But so you hover over this circle and right, his head fills the entire circle, awesome. Pull the trigger, somehow it doesn't hit him. Don't get it?
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I mean, you could maybe argue, oh well, it's a element of realism because these weapons were old and they had imprecise. Fuck that. It's not. You can't shoot them. What? There's nothing more to it. But the game's about werewolves. That should be cool. Fighting werewolves. Werewolves are cool, big monsters. That should be fun. There's a handful of werewolf fights. Most of your combat encounters are just fighting blokes, just goons working for. There's a word for they're company guys. They're not even really soldiers. They're just people or rebels or whatever. And they're the most boring fights you've ever done. There's just sit in cover, shooting for a bit, then an idiot shotgun guy comes running at you, and that's the only kind of gameplay development. And then you just kill them all, then you move on to the next cutscene and then the next kill room. The werewolf stuff happens very sparingly, and generally boils down to you're in a room like a warehouse or just an open building, and they'll run around and then they'll run at you. You press X to dodge, and then you shoot them a bit, then they fuck off, then they do it again, and you just keep doing that until they die. And then when you do kill them, you then get to do a fancy kill animation where you shiv them with your big old dagger. That looks cool, but can't you let me do that in actual gameplay? There are some other fights with werewolves where it's more like a duel or like a boxing match where it's one-on-one and you're strafing sideways, but you're locked in and then you're kind of rotating around this pivot. And that's just a quick time event. There's so many quick time events. It's just flick the stick to dodge and then hit him with your dagger and then keep doing that until he dies. It's just we've done so much more than this, especially since 2015. that it kind of makes it hard to go back to that. And I totally get why at the time, if you're, one of the first big budget, very, very pretty games, so that gets a lot of attention when you have such a graphically impressive game. First big budget game of the generation, well, not the first, but one of, and then it's just sort of flat and shit you've done before. And when it's got such an interesting world with like werewolves and the Knights of the Round Table and all that sounds good. It's a really cool idea on paper, but it's just poorly executed. And then when it comes to the guns themselves, some of these are actually very interesting, but most of them are just sort of period accurate or slightly earlier than period accurate. And I quite like that. Some of the weapons didn't, like it says, they didn't come around until much later, and that's designed to show like, the knights are really advanced. They've got people who made those weapons in the future, but they've got them in early to work for them to kind of do it. It really feels very Assassin's Creed-esque, because those games have loads of historical cameos. Like, of course, your best friend in the Renaissance set game is Leonardo da Vinci. What a surprise! And in this one, in The Order, your weaponsmith, the guy who makes all your gear, is Nikola Tesla. I mean, of course that is the alternating current guy.
The guy who made the car, right?
Was it? Good one.
No, isn't.
So there's one gun which is, I think, called like the arc gun or something. That sounds like a lot of what arc guns are. It fires electricity, but that's quite satisfying because you just shoot this bolt at them and then they get like ripped apart. Like their heads blow off or they lose a leg. That's what I mean by like the enemies being quite responsive when you do damage to them. They get fucked up, which is quite satisfying. It's a very graphic game in that way. There's also the thermite gun, which is pretty cool. That it doesn't fire bullets. It shoots this gas. And then you shoot a flare at it, which then ignites it. So that's really useful for getting around cover. So if some guy's hiding behind cover, just shoot the gas at him, then fire the flare at it, and the whole thing's on fire, and he's fucked. So that sounds great, but most of the guns are just sort of, it's a rifle, or it's automatic rifle, or it's a sniper rifle. They all feel they're just your archetype weapons, if that makes sense. They're just kind of whatever. Production-wise, the game is exceptional. It's easily one of the best looking PS4 games still to this day. It looks stunning and super, super, super well animated. And that shouldn't really come as a surprise because, as I'm learning, the studio Ready at Dawn is made up of a bunch of ex-Naughty Dog people, and Naughty Dog are, always pushing the envelope when it comes to animation. As I said earlier, there's a handful of objects in the world which can be interacted with, and you can see that they've spent a lot of time just perfectly figuring out how he's going to rotate the piece of paper and how it's then going to flop over that way, and it's nice. It looks very impressive, but it's not. It feels like a bit of extra flair, but the core that you're meant to be flaring off just isn't there. And a lot of stuff is kind of arguably over animated, and I see this a lot in more and more modern games as they get more and more technically sophisticated, is when a character interacts with something, it doesn't look quite natural, because instead of picking an object up by closing their hands on it, they'll do each individual finger moves at a slightly different time. When you grab something, you grab it, right? I don't know, maybe that's just me nitpicking. But when the animation becomes such a problem is the movement. The movement is so painful because everything is weighty and he's drudging along, especially when they slow you down in these extended walking segments with nothing to interact with, no people to speak to, not even like upgrades to go in your menu if you're bored or anything like that, or switching out your weapons. None of that. It completely takes away any control, the little control that you did have. But also, it's very, very well voice acted and motion captured, again, leading into the animation stuff. All the characters are very, very serious, and they take it very seriously, and they're committed to the role. Kind of like a high-budget TV show in the same vein of something like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. Now, I'm not saying it's of that quality, but it's the level of dedication and we're confident in our tone, we're confident in how serious, and we are the Knights of the Round Table, which I quite liked. It's the confidence of it is nice. It's actually pretty well written as well, again, leading into the production value stuff. It never comes across as cheesy or melodramatic, despite it being in such a sort of gothic Victorian environment and a period piece. A lot of these things are very, over the top, but it never quite sinks in there. But the dialogue is a cool mix of 19th century lingo where everything is Sir and Milord and all that, but also some more contemporary tactical jargon, like, because they speak to each other over a walkie-talkie, which is obviously not a thing they had in Victorian era in the 1800s, but it's something that the radios were just taking their first steps and people were figuring it out. So you've got one because you're so advanced, and you chat with your team members over that. The graphics, as I said earlier, are outstanding. It's easily one of the best looking games on PS4 to this day. But stylistically, everything's grey. It's all grey. You spent so long making these gorgeous character models, especially the main guy. He's got this like long coat with interesting, I don't know what you call it, but like embellishments on the cape and all that. It looks really cool, but it's just got this flat grey filter over it, and it's such a shame because they're so cool underneath all that, but the grey just makes it really boring. But now comes probably my biggest complaint out of everything, and it's not so much the gameplay. The gameplay's kind of whatever, but my god, what is it with video games and aspect ratios? If you don't know what an aspect ratio is, when you're watching a film or these days playing a game, that's the black bars at the top and bottom, or on something older at the sides. It's basically the size of an image that you're looking at. Films generally operate in the 16 by 9? Is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah.
So they have the top and bottom aspect ratio, because that gives you a wider image in the camera so that you can see more of the shot. It looks pretty, and because we're so used to that now, that gives us a sense of, oh, that's cinematic and that's dramatic. Red Dead did a really good job, Red Dead 2, of employing that in the cutscenes to give them that dramatic feel, but it took it away in the gameplay so that you could see your environment, so that you could see where you were. The Order doesn't do that. It's there throughout, and it just means that half of your screen is just not there. You just can't see shit. And it's not like in cinema when it's shot on a wide lens, which gives you the wider field of view. It's just you're missing parts of your screen, and it feels like a stylistic choice that was added in like after the fact, like retroactively, not like they've built their in-game cameras to capture it in that way, if that makes sense. It's such a fucking pain in the ass. Like, you'll be covering and you can't see anything because your body takes up all that's left of the frame. There's no room because of these huge aspect ratio blank spaces. And then the story is the thing which got me the most interested when it was first making the rounds back in 2015. And ultimately, the story itself isn't as interesting as the setting or what it could be with the werewolves and Knights of the Round Table and Victorian London and stuff. All that sounds amazing on paper. But the story, it's almost too ambitious in the sense that it leaves a lot and it drops a lot of information but doesn't tell you most of it. It's like, oh, here's a name and we're not going to tell you who that is. And it's as if there's definitely a wider world out there, but we're not going to give you any of that information now. Hopefully we'll give it to you in a sequel type deal. And some of it is very, very sequel baity. Some of it's more like, oh, that could be an interesting thing to read up on if the like in a extra thing in like a text log or something. But there's no text logs. There's not like environmental storytelling, and any of these newspapers I mentioned earlier that you find don't tell you anything interesting. It's just, here's a little comment on what your characters have been doing, as reported by the Daily Mail type thing. So it's probably full of bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, there's part of the context of it, as well as taking out these werewolves, is that there's a rebellion going on. I think it's against the Crown and Queen Victoria and all that, but we don't really know why. They're just sort of there, and then there's thoughts that they're in league with the werewolves, but we don't really learn enough, and it doesn't give you any information when it really should. And there's a mild sort of half spoiler alert, but you're not going to play it. It came out 5 years ago. If you played it, no. There's a terrible cliffhanger, and I don't mean terrible as in it's bad in what it is, because it's fine, but it's really, really abrupt, because as I said, this game is really, really short. It's about 6 hours long, and then all of a sudden it's just like, boom, you're at the end. This person, who was very obviously the twist, or without trying to give too much away, the twist is so obvious, and then it ends. It's just like, oh, okay. Like, are you gonna give me anything more? Is there any more to this? No? Okay, whatever. Now, a sequel could easily rectify this, because they could just carry on that plot thread and fix all of these gameplay problems. And there's been a bunch of leaks and sort of rumors about a sequel, and the developers have been keeping quiet about it. But they have said that they're open to working on it and want to work on the IP, and the IP is still alive. But ultimately, The Order 1886 isn't a game I can recommend you play, because playing it isn't that fun. And therefore, it's a bad game. It's not a good game because it's not fun to play.
Yeah.
But if you're interested in the story, which I thought was quite cool, it wasn't the best story in the world, but what is there? There's something in there. There is something in there. They just need to figure out how to get it out better. So if you're interested in, the Knights of the Round Table thing, the werewolf thing, I recommend watching like a story playthrough on YouTube or like a walkthrough type thing, and just think of it as like a TV show, because this would make an excellent TV show. If they scrap the sequel and just they've got to go one of two ways. In the sequel, they need to make it an actual game, put actual gameplay in it with actual mechanics, and then it'll be great. Or stop making it a game and just make it a Netflix series, because it lends itself to that, and it will work really well as that. So just pick a side. You can't do both. Or you can do both, but you can have to fundamentally change what it is. Obviously, I'd like it to be a game, but I don't know. Part of me is like, just let go in the cinematic direction, lean into that, and do that, and just stop making shit gameplay that we have to sit through. If there was a sequel, I'd definitely buy it.
Yeah.
I definitely, maybe not like a day one thing, but I'm interested to see more of this world and see them perfect this sort of thing. Because, as I said, there's something there. There's something there. There is potential in it. They just need to find a way to dig it out and make it more than 6 hours and add actual stuff to it, like mechanics, like progression. There's no progression at all. You move from level to level and you get a handful of different weapons. You only ever have a sidearm and then like a main weapon and 2 grenades. That's it. And half the time it unequips whatever you just had. So if you like the gun you're using, we're going to move you to the next scripted section and we're just going to take that away and give you a new one. I don't want that. There's no unlockables. There's no cosmetics. There's no additional modes. There's no multiplayer, no DLC or anything like that. Although I noticed, and it really confused me for ages, in the pause menu there's a section called the Armory. And I was like, oh, what's that? Like, is that going to unlock eventually? Am I going to get some sort of progression? No. I had to Google it after I finished the game because it never became anything. And so it's just blanked out. You can't even hover over it. You skip over it. It's just in the pause menu. All that is it's solely there for the pre-order bonuses, which were cosmetic skins for your character Galahad. But you can't buy those in the store after the fact anyway. So why is it there? Why is this in the game? You've created pre-order cosmetics, but none of that is in the actual game anyway. There's no other cosmetic stuff. It's bewildering. It's bewildering.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can talk about this anymore. I've said all I have to say. It's almost a really good game, but sort of really fucking far away at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you paid, what, £8 for it? It's a 6-hour game. Yeah, I guess you didn't enjoy it that much, but you'd like to see what a sequel, they could make out of a sequel. I mean, I guess it would appeal to a certain demographic of people. So for £8, 6 hours worth of gameplay, obviously at full price, it was panned on release for how little it offered, and you've just ran through it there, and you can see, this is not the game for me. This definitely isn't the kind of game that I would like because of the restrictive nature of the gameplay, which absolutely would destroy it for me, any enjoyment whatsoever. Well,
like narrative-driven gameplay light games can work really well. Games like the Telltale games or the Walking Dead games, they're really good at that sort of thing. So if it just lent into that and wasn't a boring shooter, it would probably be better served doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But there you go, Order 1886. For those of you who were in any doubt that the game might be good now, it's not. So there you go.
It's not. Almost.
It's still not good. And moving on from a game which is very restrictive to one of the most free roaming games you'll ever play, ever. We're talking now about one of my most anticipated games of ever, right? This is Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. I was a big fan of the original. I think it's Warband I played more than the original because they've done a few kind of iterations of this before. But this Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord has been in production for maybe 8 years now since they announced it. And this is the epitome of what I love about games, right? It just does everything just perfectly. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to try and keep a lid on it. I will be gushing for the next 15 to 20 minutes about this game. Be warned. So
you're going to make a tea.
Yeah. So sit comfortably.
I don't even drink tea.
You don't even drink tea. That's right. So what is this game? Well, it's a role-playing game. It's like a medieval warfare simulator. And like I said, it's all about freedom and the freedom to pursue your own goals and do what you want with your own character. And you're given this sandbox world, this medieval world, where there's castles and factions and clan leaders and vassals and, everything that you associate with medieval times. And you can literally go anywhere, do anything at any time. You're not tied to any narrative, any story. There's no areas locked behind progression walls. It's a proper old school type of RPG. There's no levels where areas where you go to where the enemies are too hard or too there's none of that nonsense. It is what it is, and it's pure in that way. So you begin with the character creator, and it is absolutely insane. It's so in depth, and it's kind of indicative of the game itself. You've got 15 sliders for the nose type and the shape. 15 sliders. I mean, how? That's just the nose, and you've got eyes, and you've got chin, and you've got face shape, and all that. It's how do you fit 15 different variables into a nose? And they're all on a slider, so it's not option 1, option 2, option 3. It's different sizes. It's immense, man. It's crazy, and that just gives you an indication of how deep this game is and engaging.
And you don't normally fuck about with character creators. You just want to jump into it.
That's it. I was a bit perturbed by the lack of hair choices. I got a kind of a beard, a kind of Viking beard that kind of resembles mine, but the hair, there was no spiky up hair back in them days. Apparently, no hair product. I mean, come on. So yeah, moving on. During the character creator, you make multiple choices about your upbringing at various stages in your adolescence. So you're creating this character by telling its backstory during the character creator, and at each decision that you make, depending on how you spent your time as a kid, they affect the stats and the traits of the character that you emerge into the game as. So this isn't a fake RPG. This is a fully blown, you don't get different coloured weapons with slightly different numbers, and all the enemies have different levels on them, and they govern their hit points and shit, like a Ubisoft type of RPG. This is a hardcore RPG, a proper role-playing game where you play a role. You take on this role of this person, and then you play as that person. Not like I said, none of this garbage that these big companies are trying to spew out and tell us that RPGs. That's nonsense. Before I get ranty, so yeah, they took 8 years to make this game, and it is kind of mechanically similar. If you played the original, you'll be at home with this one, right? So it is mechanically similar, and there could be a criticism to say, it looks the same, it kind of plays the same, but they're not just regurgitating here. It's not just the same stuff. They've kind of reimagined everything. The original game, as awesome as it was, I mean, you can't, it was one of my favorite games, like I said. But what they've done is they've taken everything that was good about that game, and they've built upon it every single aspect which made it great. Like the combat, progression, the whole world, the mechanics, and they've added a bunch of new things too, like blacksmithing is a new addition, and they simulate the marketplaces now, and I'll get into that in a bit. But it's this huge, the freedom that you've got in this game is essentially why I love it, and why I love sandbox games. It reminds me a lot of Sid Meier's Pirates in the case where you just go anywhere at any time, meet somebody new, maybe do a couple of missions for them, win favor with them, and maybe gain a promotion and gain some riches or something. But that's in the later game. You begin making money by running small errands for people that you meet in the villages. Then you recruit soldiers and you fight off looters and bandits or whatever to win some renown and sell off their loot for profit. So as your character progresses, and there's a huge character progression in this game, you gain skills like command to be able to command larger and larger armies. And like I said, there's a huge map, all these factions that you can win favor with each of them. And if they're at war, for example, if two clans are at war and you do a favor or you kind of win favor with one of them, your reputation with the other one will dip. So you've got there's no morality in this game. There's no do the right thing or the wrong thing. It's like, who do you want to ally with? And by making a decision, by allying with one of them, you're inevitably going to lose favor with the others. So it's just a case of, it's that ultimate freedom thing. And it's a fully simulated world, and there's lots of moving pieces. So these factions they do have wars, so you can become entangled in it if you're a vassal or if you're a leader yourself. So these characters leaders can be replaced. You can be a faction commander as well, faction leader, and the factions can be taken over and destroyed. And this will all play out in the background, whether you choose to engage with it or not. And that's the beauty of it. Like, this whole world is teeming with all these events, like big wars going on. You see these armies running past you, and at any point you're like, oh, I'm not getting involved there. There's far too much going on. I'll just choose a peaceful life of a trader or something, which you can do. You can just go about your own business and not get involved in any of it. You just hire a bunch of guards essentially to keep the looters and bandits away, and then you go looking for profit, which is a very viable way of making a lot of money in this game. You can, from settlement to settlement, another thing which is simulated is the markets, like I said. So depending on which settlement you go to, there might be some natural resources like horses or fish if they've got fish in town. And so they've got an abundance of these resources which you can buy. Buy a load of horses as well to cart all the stuff. Go to a settlement that doesn't have so much of the supply, high demand, and you sell it for a huge profit. And that's a very decent way to make a lot of money very quickly, and it's a really good tip for beginners, that and I just love that. Like, I love being able to figure out how to win at this game on your own, without hand-holding, without missions, without, go here and do this. It's like, well, I want to give me this sandbox world with all these moving pieces, and it's all simulated, and let me work that out for myself. And that's where my enjoyment comes from these types of games, where you got to apply your own mind and think, right, how do I succeed in this world given all these variables and all this situation? And I love that.
It's not just freedom of choice, it's you're free to fail as well, it sounds like. Yeah. Like, free to make your own mistakes type thing.
Absolutely. And you will make a lot of mistakes in this game. You'll get captured, you'll get thrown in dungeon, you'll lose everything, you'll have to restart again, your whole army will be disbanded, whatever. That's happened to me. I've made some mistakes already, but that's the beauty of it, right? Also in this game, you become a owner. You can set up trade caravans to make up more money that way. You become a vassal of a king, own some castles of your own, or a few castles. Go to war for your lord and earn gold and renown that way. Or you can create your own faction, which is a great thing. Get your own vassals and then take on other factions and try and conquer the whole map. You do what you want, essentially. And the battles, I haven't even talked about the main gameplay. This is just this is just the game itself, right? Just think, every time you engage in a battle, you go to this like third person, stroke first person, you play it however way you want. Just this battle. Right? And it's just like total war battle, but instead of just looking down on the world, you are a character in this world. You swing your sword, you get bloody, you can die. Well, not really die, you get captured if you get knocked out or whatever. But that aspect of it is so much better than I don't know, any other game. I think if you're on the battlefield commanding your troops, there's just so much more you feel so much more immersed in it compared with something like Total War. This is the game that Total War should have evolved into, right? And the fact that this is made by an independent developer, they took 8 years to make this game as good as it can be. It's just not. There's no amount of words that can make me praise this studio more, right? It's just immense. But the problem is, right, it's a little bit daunting for newcomers, you would say, because there's a lot of things to learn, and the tutorials aren't really there for a few people, or for newcomers, essentially. So you do have to take your time and patience with it, but the payoff with that is that you've got this huge depth of gameplay, systems, and a progression system. It's all there. It's just a fully complete, wholesome game. In terms of a couple of things. It is an early access still, so there's a couple of things that they could improve on. Now, the interiors and villages and stuff, they have improved them since the previous game, but they still sometimes feel a bit empty. And I think that lends to the size of the game, like the amount of stuff that they've had to put in the game, because there's all these factions, there's all these different types of troops, and they've just had to do loads. There's like a Tailworld Entertainment are the name of the developer. They're a Turkish indie studio with 102 employees, and they're taking their time they're not trying to cash in on anything. They've just done a wholesome game, right? So things have had to get put on the back burner, and I would say that the interiors and the villages are kind of one of those things. And the performance a little bit sometimes too. When you go into an interior and there's a lot of lighting, my performance seems to tank, the frame rate goes right down, but that's just something that they can optimize over time and fix that up. So like I said, Tailworld Entertainment, one of my favorite developers now after playing this game. Bannerlord, which is Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, I should give it its full title. It's quickly become one of the most played games on Steam, if any of you have been paying attention. It hit a peak of 220,000 players peak after a couple of days of launch. I'm not sure if it's even surpassed that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it had, right? And it became the third most played game on Steam at the time. It was beating PUBG and GTA 5, and it was only behind like Dota and what's the other one everyone plays? I can't remember. But the most notable thing about this game, right, it's a single player game, campaign-focused game with just a multiplayer battle mode tacked on, right? There's no battle royale mode, there's no loot boxes, there's no microtransactions or always online requirement, any of that nonsense. It's just a straight-up single-player focused game made by a really passionate studio who put the time and effort in to make it a deeply engaged and a good game. It doesn't look the prettiest. Look at some of the facial features, and this is where you compare it to a game of the Order 1886 or something, right? It doesn't look that pretty, right? But they focused on the gameplay, like and the breadth and the depth of the gameplay, and they spared no expense in that on that front. And it's a proper PC gamers game, right? And a lot of people saying, when's it coming to PlayStation 4? When's it coming to Xbox? This isn't the kind of game that will ever make it to those consoles. Maybe next generation, but I can't see that happening anytime soon, given the size of the studio and the depth and breadth of this game. It's just an unfortunate fact. This is a PC gamers game, and if it does come to the consoles, then I will be hailing that, because if for them to be able to port that onto this type of game onto a console, it will open a lot of eyes in terms of what console games should and could be. Absolutely. So far, gameplay wise, it's a head and shoulders above anything else that I've played in 2020 so far. It reminds me of the good old days in gaming where gameplay is more important than how a game looks or how much money you can make selling cosmetics, for that matter. So I will definitely be losing weeks, if not months, of time playing this game, because I'm going to ring it for every ounce of fun that I can get from it. It's not very often that these types of games come along, and that's why I'm really excited that I get to also, in this isolation, I got more free time. It's like it comes at a perfect time. It's like the perfect game for me at this perfect time where you've got more time to yourself. It's like, oh my God, just leave me alone in a room on my own with this game, and I will be a happy little boy.
I think that's exactly what happened with me playing Doom Eternal, because a lot of people didn't like it, but that gameplay loop was exactly what I needed to just keep running through and getting good. I got good. Took a while.
So I didn't really. This wasn't really a review. This was just me gushing, right? This is me telling you why I like the game so much, essentially. So I haven't gone into detail about like the mechanics and how the battle works and how there's different weapons in the game and how it's just all very deep, and there's, just believe me, if those of you are like, oh, but how does the game play? How does the battles work and stuff like that? It's just that is a given that stuff is really enjoyable. Go and watch some gameplay. Just watch some gameplay of it, and you'll be able to see. If you're still not sold, I'm sure that a lot of you are, because of the amount of people who are playing it. It's just that in itself speaks a lot. That's for sure. So that's it. That's the end of me gushing. I'm gonna I'm going to leave it there for now. So that means I can finish this podcast sooner rather than later and get back to fucking playing it, because that's what I want to be doing.
It's not often we get a Gaz gushing. Normally it's a Gaz rant.
Oh, yeah.
Have you got one in you? I feel like we can probably find one before the end of this podcast.
We'll get a rant in here before the end, I'm sure. But let's move on now, anyway, to part 2 of the, what did I call it last week? The Peroni Plague Survival Guide, right? And it's only a small one this week. So we played a couple of games, multiplayer with the Discord community over the weekend. We played, firstly, World War Z, which was free on Epic Games Store. And this is a 4-player cooperative third-person shooter like Left 4 Dead. Think about that. And you've seen the movie, right, World War Z, with those huge swarms of zombies like that, just like climbing on each other to get over walls and stuff. That's what this game is. But there's 4 of you, and you've got you get dropped into this area. You've got to complete an objective, like unlock some doors or get to somebody or whatever, and then get out of there. And the whole time, every so often, you get these huge hordes of zombies coming at you, and it is absolutely heart-pounding and very exciting. You think in terms of Days Gone, when those hordes come at you, and think, how cool does that feel, taking out those hordes? It's like that, but you're playing it co-op. And for a free game, oh my God, I had a lot of fun with World War Z. I'm not really going to go into great detail. I'm not sure if it still is available on Epic Store for free now, but it was only released last year in April, so it's not even that old. But definitely recommend it if you get a chance to play it with some friends of yours. There's not really...
I think, I might be wrong, but I think it's available on Game Pass, because I've been eyeballing it for a little while. But I might be lying, I might not.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. For those of you who do have 2 or 3 friends who want to play cooperatively over this time where you're all sat at home, it is something to, for a free game, something to enjoy and spend some decent time playing. Those hordes of zombies, man, there's no feeling like it when there's just like hundreds, maybe not thousands, but there's hundreds of them rushing at you, and you're scrambling for ammunition. You pick up a rocket launcher and you just see them exploding, or you're on a balcony or something, and they're climbing on each other to get up to your balcony, and you just lob a grenade at the bottom of them, and they just explode, and the whole tower of them comes crashing down. Oh man, it's fun. It really is fun. So I recommend that for, the price of absolutely zero, if you can get your hands on it for that. The next game that we played a little bit of was Predator Hunting Grounds. Now, this is a little bit of a different story. So this was on a free weekend, I think. I think it downloaded it on Epic again. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it was Epic. It was released 24th of April, right? So it's not even out yet. So this was an early access, right?
Yeah, there was a beta or something going around for a while, I think.
Yeah, so we had a couple of games in this, and it's interesting. It's an interesting game. The biggest problem we had was getting everybody into the same instance or into the same game before we launched the game. So that was a bit of a faff trying to get everyone, because you couldn't join the same group, and it was glitching, and we were trying to get other people to be the group leader and stuff like that. But I think that's a symptom of how the Epic Games friends list thing works more than anything. I don't know if the game itself was to blame. Maybe that was it too. But
it's asymmetric, right?
That's right.
One person plays the Predator and the other guys play as regular human soldiers.
Yeah, that's right. It's a 5-player game. So four players are the Marines or whatever, and the one guy plays the Predator. And your gameplay experience is vastly different between those two. So you get thrown into a mission with these as the Marines, and you've got to go somewhere on the map, secure some sort of info or something, and then get the hell out of there. And the Predator's sole job is to fuck you up, essentially. It's got to just destroy you. But the thing is, the Predator doesn't know what you're doing or where you're going. It just has to rely on where it can see, and it's got all the. I didn't really play as the Predator, so I don't really know a lot of how the Predator feels like to play. But I was told it feels a little bit like Assassin's Creed, where you're running up the trees and you're going from...
Because isn't the Predator in third person? I might be making that up, but because the humans are first person and the Predator's third person, is that right? I might be wrong.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't play as the Predator. But
who's the one guy you want to play as in a Predator game, right?
Yeah, I know, but it was Ben from the Discord. He said when he played as a Predator, he said it was really difficult to control. So I don't know if that's a symptom of just something that you have to get used to, or just it's just an issue with the game. But we had a bit of fun with it. It is quite tense when you're a group of Marines and you don't. The Predator's got the cloak, right, and you can hear the clicking in the trees, and you're like, oh shit, he's around here somewhere, and it's that nervous tension where he can obviously see us, he's obviously waiting for us somewhere. And we had some successful rounds where we worked well as a team. When you take the Predator down, though, he's got this self-destruct timer, right? So when he initiates the self-destruct, you've got an area perimeter to get the hell out of before he explodes. And the first time, Ben was like, no, it's all right, you can defuse it. It's all right. So we were like, go on then, Ben, defuse it. And he was like, it's not defusing, Ben. What's that? Maybe you need a tech or something. Oh shit, let's get out of here. And we all blew up and we died. Second try, he was actually the Predator and he set the bomb off and we got out of there because we weren't listening to him. We weren't going to listen to him the second time, so we won that one. But the most interesting round, I felt, was there was this guy who played as the Predator versus 4 of us. And he knew what he was doing. He was stalking us the whole time. We hardly ever saw him, right? And he waited until we were all out in the open in one group, and they just ran in and absolutely annihilated us. Like, it was proper. He harnessed the inner Predator. He is
the Predator.
He was the Predator, man. It was that was impressive, and I can appreciate how he approached that situation, given how we'd seen other people try and pick us off one by one, or with like a ranged weapon with the Predator. And it wasn't that impressive because as soon as the Predator starts firing at range, we can see him. Then we're calling out on the compass where he is in the trees and stuff like that, and we're working together to advance our objective as well as keep the Predator at bay, and that's a little bit easier to manage. Whereas if you don't know where he is and all of a sudden he's making no noise and he comes out of nowhere,
he just rushes you.
Yeah, he rushed us and he took us out, and that was good. Again, a fun game, but I'd say it has technical issues from my experience. Didn't play a lot of it, but again, it's fun, so do check it out. It's coming out in a few weeks' time, hopefully. For those of you who are interested, you'll get a chance to play it free again for another weekend or whatever. But like I said, asymmetric, get that word right, asymmetric multiplayer game, which is interesting. Not the Predator game we'd all wanted, but even still, it was a decent time. It's cool because it's got a lot of throwbacks. You're playing, you're like, get to the chopper. And you can't help it. Yeah. But there's actually an emote in the game where you can tell your character to say, get to the chopper. It doesn't say it in the Arnie voice, but
what's the fucking point then?
Yeah, that's even in there, so that was good. It's a lot of fun. It always is when you're playing as a group of friends. Anyway, and there you go. That's the Peroni Plague Survival Guide for this week. Those 2 little nuggets there. So we are going to move on next to the Discord community questions. Now, these questions are put to us by our Patreon supporters who support us every single month over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. And for as little as $1 a month, you get access to the Patreon Discord. You get to play with us when we're playing these multiplayer games. Survive the apocalypse together. Did you see that tweet where all the goats overtook Llandudno? Did you see that?
Yep.
Oh my God! It went world news viral. Yeah. Where like Llandudno, the Great Orme is the mountain right by Llandudno. They came out of the mountains and just the running riot on the streets. It's like a proper apocalypse, man.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Black Sheep? Because that's exactly what it made me think of.
No,
it's like a weird New Zealand black comedy where the sheep are zombies.
Yeah,
that's the pitch, and it's really weird.
That sounds weird.
I don't know if it's good.
I don't know if it's good.
I can't tell you. I watched it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
questions.
So yeah, as I was saying, to survive the apocalypse together, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and support the channel, and you get access to the Patreon as well as the ability to ask us questions every week. And Henry without much further ado, take it away.
Let's have it. So the first one is from Metal Shark. Conversation topic. Do you think the Olympic Committee will be more welcoming of esports, especially if Tokyo cannot go ahead this year? What about televised sporting events being, maybe temporarily, replaced with virtual ones? Now, I hate the idea of esports being in the Olympics. That might be a controversial opinion. It's the dumbest shit. Right, this isn't me saying that esports doesn't require a degree of skill or athleticism, I guess you could say, but it's not a sport. Putting esports with traditional physical sports is, in my mind, is fucking absurd. If you want to have an Olympics dedicated to esports, I think that's a great idea. Have a series of different events all under the same roof with different games. You have your Fortnites and your League of Legends and your PUBGs, all that shit. Put them all in one place and have it be the esports Olympics. Cool. I still probably wouldn't watch it. It's not really my thing, but that makes sense. Putting esports in the Olympics itself, in my mind, is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? Because it's in this grey area. I mean, you think of sports, you think of athletes, you think of training hard and being a physical beast where you've got to excel at something physically. But there are a bunch of sports in the Olympics already that aren't really sports, right?
That's part of it. I think those sports should get the fuck out of the Olympics. Darts isn't a fucking sport; it's a game. Snooker, again, it takes a
fishing. I mean,
skill.
is fishing?
It's not a fucking
fishing
sport. Fucking golf's in the Olympics. Again, takes a lot of skill and talent to be really good at it, but it's not. What are you fucking doing in the Olympics? The Olympics is for the ultimate physical test because that's how it started. It's it's a training regime, right? That's where you got javelin because it's about throwing spears, and running because it's about running really fucking fast on a battlefield. So it should be.
Yeah,
I mean, if it happens, it's not like I'm going to fucking revolt, but I just think it's stupid.
It is a whole new world now, Henry. I mean, who knows how long this is going to last? Who knows how often this is going to happen in future? I mean, this might be a glimpse into our sad, pathetic human futures where we're just going to have to... There's no football. What are we going to do without football? I need some competition in my life. You know what I mean? There's a void in my life. I need some competition.
The televised sporting events being replaced with virtual ones, I think that's kind of a funny idea because I think last week I covered it. Some F1 drivers did a virtual F1 race in whatever the F1 video game equivalent is with a bunch of other like celebrity guests and that. I didn't watch it, but apparently it was a complete fucking disaster and half of them just crashed out like straight off the finish line because they can't play the video game version. I think that would be quite funny as like almost in the same vein as like charity football events because they do numerous charity football events all throughout the year. So if they did one where they just got all the pro FIFA players and all the actual, not all of them because there's millions of them, but a bunch of actual professional footballers, put them together, televise it, I think that could be quite fun.
Well, I think it'd be good without the pro esports players, just the regular professional footballers against one another. So Man United versus Liverpool in an FIFA match online where like 11 versus 11 and each of them play one character in the team.
Their own character.
Exactly, they control their own characters. That would be so, and the manager's there subbing them off and that would be so cool. I would watch that, man. Who wouldn't watch that? That'd be cool.
It would be entertaining. I hate football, but it would be entertaining.
Yeah, I'd watch that, man. I'd definitely watch that. Considering the state of the entertainment at the moment with no sport being on, man, I'd totally watch that. Anyway, thanks for the question, Metal Shark. Moving on, White Wolf asks the next one. With the Amstel elements at the forefront of the news, causing us all to think about our own mortality, and my playing a lot of Skyrim recently, how would you rank the various ways you could die in Skyrim in terms of your preferred way to go, from the least bad to the worst? Now, obviously, White Wolf has been thinking about this a little bit too hard. He's put a huge list of ways you can die in Skyrim here.
It sounds to me like you've been torturing the poor NPCs of the realm of Skyrim in these different ways.
So I'm going to run through that. I don't think we've got time to rank order them in terms of from best to worst. So we'll just pick out a few of our favourites, I guess. So we've got to pick a preferred way to go and the worst way to go, right? From the following list. So arrow to the knee, then one to the heart. Sword to the chest. Sword decapitation. Death from many small dagger cuts. head bashed in with an axe/hammer, falling from a great height, electrocution from shock magic, freezing to death from ice magic, burning to death from fire magic, poison, having your health drained to 0 over 30 seconds from a vampire's drain health spell, dying of old age by succumbing to some disease as an old man after having had a lifetime adventure and saving the world, being mauled to death by a bear/tiger, drowning, crushed by a giant's axe. So, Henry, what do we... A lot of options there. How do you want to die, dude?
I reckon the best way, because it'll be over super quickly, is probably sword decapitation, chop my head off. I mean, yeah, there's some things to suggest that your brain is still alive after that would happen, but it's already over. It's too late. Like, I can't... no, my brain's not even going to be able to comprehend it. There's no blood going to it. It's all falling out. So that's my preferred way to go. I do quite like the sound of dying of old age by succumbing to some disease as an old man after having had a lifetime of adventure and saving the world, but I don't want to die from a disease. That sounds pretty shit. I think the worst one would probably be where is it? Death by many small dagger cuts. That one made me wince when you're at it. I was like, that just sounds like a nightmare. Because the way I'm imagining it is I'm in like some horrible rat-infested dungeon, some, fat meathead executioner's got me tied up, and he's just nicking me like once a day until eventually I die.
Yeah, it does sound pretty bad. I've got a couple of choices myself. So, dying of old age. Well, who doesn't want to live a full life? All right, you get a disease, but what, you've lived a full, hearty life, and dying as an old man, having had a lifetime adventure and saving the world. That's the way I want to go, man. I mean,
you die a hero.
Die a hero, even though it is a disease. The worst one, I think, is drowning for me. I just hate the thought of drowning. It's just like, or being burnt to death. I think being burnt to death would be pretty much the worst. Drowning, or it's just like the age-old would you rather question, which is the worst, drowning or burning to death. I can't think of any two worst ways to go, but there you go.
Some of the most brutal ones wouldn't actually be that bad, like head
be over quickly,
with an
right?
axe or hammer. Yeah, it's foul and it's gross, but it's done. Your head smashed. Yeah, it's over.
It's quick. It's quick, but burning to death, and I can't even. I don't even want to imagine that. Anyway, the next part of the question: if your death were completely pain-free, where would you prefer to die? So we've got options here: town, if so, which one? If I can remember any. Dwemer ruin, dungeon, on top of a mountain, with a guild, if so, which one? At your townhouse, at your self-built house.
I quite like the sound of dying painlessly at my self-built house. I can be in my own space with my own things. I can make it peaceful.
Yeah.
But then again, on top of a mountain, it would depend on what the mountain is, though, because if it's like a clear day and it's not, snowing and freezing cold, it'd be very nice. But if it's, what's the one with the greybeards where you have to use a dragon shout to get through the storm? I don't want to die on that fucking mountain.
Yeah. I mean, that's my answer, on top of a mountain. Who wouldn't want, I love scenery. I love the open countryside. I love mountains. And top of a mountain. That's cool. Nice way to go, I think. So thanks for your questions, Mr. White Wolf. And we will move on now.
And next up is Not That Rob Lowe. As Henry has reached the end of his Game of the Ages, I thought I'd give you a choice of where to go next. So the Game of the Ages was, we have to say, our favourite game of a given year, starting from when we were born, going all the way up till whatever we are now. The only rule is that we have to have played that game. The only problem is, I've now exceeded the target. I reached 2020 last week, so I've nowhere to go, so I've got to think of something new. So the options are either favourite game from years prior to your birth until such a time you reach a point where you cannot continue, or if you prefer, your favourite film through the years of your birth. I think I'm going to go for the favourite film, but I haven't looked up any of these, so I have no idea. So do you want to talk about your games first, and I'll get back to you?
What we could do is put this on hold, maybe. I'll just answer mine and we'll move on, and then
I've got a list of amazing films in front of me right now. There's a lot of candidates.
Right. Okay, let me just answer mine then. Yeah. So my Game of the Ages of the year 2005, which was the 25th year after my birth, is Call of Duty 2. This is basically one of my most played games of all time. I played a lot of multiplayer with that. The same as Call of Duty 1. I used to be a huge Call of Duty fan, believe it or not, before they completely shat on all the PC players and just went console and just stopped support for for dedicated servers, which is when I tailed off. But back in the day, Call of Duty 2 was an absolute monster of a game, and I'll stick by that.
Okay, well, the ones in front of me in terms of films, there's some good fucking films here. Apollo 13, Toy Story, 7, Bad Boys. I don't like Braveheart, but Braveheart. GoldenEye.
You don't like Braveheart?
It's historically inaccurate and it's dumb. I know everyone loves it. I just can't stand it. I think I just don't like it.
Okay.
The Usual Suspects, Batman Forever, Jumanji, Die Hard 2. I think it's Die Hard 2. Yeah, with a Vengeance. No, that's Die Hard 3. What's wrong with me? Yeah, that's Die Hard 3. Fucking Billy Madison. There's so many good movies here. Casper, Judge Dredd with fucking what's his face, Stallone. But the undeniable.
This was the year of your birth.
Yeah, 95.
Oh, fucking
I didn't
hell,
realise
man.
there
You're
were so
young.
many. I'm still scrolling. I've already picked the best one. The Waterworld. Everyone hated Waterworld, but I liked Waterworld.
Oh, man. Come on. You don't like Braveheart, but you like Waterworld.
It's Mad Max on water. It's awesome.
Oh, my head hurts, Henry. Can we just cut to the chase?
Right. The winner is Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. That is
I'll give you that one.
Undeniable.
That's decent.
It's excellent.
That is decent.
I have nothing
Thanks for
more
your
to
question, Mr. Not That Rob Lowe. Hopefully, I mean, you're going to be so far ahead. You're going to be on on a different topic by the time I reach these.
Yep.
Pretty much reach my films. Anyway, moving on to Lochka's question: are you still partnered with Green Man Gaming? If so, how do I support the channel when shopping with them? We are still partnered with Green Man Gaming, and we every so often we post a link at the top of the description when we cover a game through Green Man Gaming. Partnered in terms of we get a kickback from any sales that we send them. Essentially, they don't pay us anything any month. We only get a certain percentage of all the sales we create. So it's not we're an affiliate or whatever they call it. The link is, I think Metal Shock has already posted or linked you to our Green Man affiliate link, which is in the Discord. It's top of the one of the Discord channels. It's pinned to one of the Discord channels. So it'll be there for you, Mr. Lochka. Thanks for your question.
Okay, next up. Rudy Manchego. Hey, as a worker working from home and facing some painful financial decisions, how are you guys doing? What home routines do you guys have? Well, financially, my life hasn't really changed that much, other than I don't have to get trains or anything, or like public transport, which is a bloody godsend. My routine, it's sort of the same in terms of my, like, what I would be, the amount of time I spent working and editing and stuff at the office versus here. But at the moment, so the space I'm in now is kitted up to be my like workspace and recording space. But my girlfriend often works in here in the mornings because there's 2 monitors and she has to dual monitor. Well, doesn't have to, but it's much easier to do her job with dual monitors. So I normally work on just my laptop in the living room, and then I'll record in here, then edit in here. But other than that, there's not really much of a routine that's outside of the ordinary. What about you? Because you've got 2 daughters to deal with 24/7.
I think structure is really important in somebody's life in terms of, especially when you're young, when it comes to like being productive and having things to do. So having to deal with like an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old who are now at home. It's all right when school's on. It's during holidays now, Easter holidays. They're off for 3 weeks. But we've set up a couple of desks in this office for them so they can work remotely when they're during school, which is awesome. Obviously, the wife's working from home too. So yeah, we've set up a bit of a structure. So every day we get up and we like to be. I mean, I get up and do exercise first thing in the morning. And it's a good way to start the day. So I've kept that up, and then around 8 o'clock, at 7:30ish, we all sit down by the table and we've got these books we fill in like a to-do list, every single one of us, right? So the reason we do that is that we look at each day as an opportunity to get something done or try and achieve something or try and improve ourselves in some way or try and work towards our long-term goals in some way, right? Which we've all written down what we want to do long-term. So we ask the girls to fill out a to-do list of things, even in the holidays, right, of things they want to do today to work towards their goals or to relax, have fun. It doesn't have to be all like work-related or something like that. So we sit there, we have this little kind of meeting, I guess it is, this fun little thing, and then the next day we tick the things off as we go during the day, so that at the end of the day we know that we've not just been laying around in our pants playing games all day and throwing Doritos in our faces or whatever. We've actually done something constructive, and we feel like the day's been worthy. You know what I mean? You've not just wasted the day, because you could so easily fall into that pattern where you're just wasting all the days playing Mountain Blade 2, for example. I mean, I could easily do that quite easily, but it's not great for mental health, though.
It's exactly what I would end up doing if I wasn't punching out all these fucking videos every day.
Yeah.
I would just end up stuck in a rut of just playing video games.
So a lot of my time now, have you noticed that Henry's been handling a lot of the content, which has kind of freed me up to begin back work on the guitar channel, because I've got a lot of people waiting for content on the guitar side, and it's given me the opportunity now to kind of pursue that a little bit more. I've been playing the guitar. I've picked up my guitar for the first time in like 6 months last week, and I've been working on some new stuff, some new guitar lessons, and I can't wait to get back and start adding more content to that channel, my guitar tutorial website as well. That's been a bit I just haven't been adding to it recently. So it's been a good opportunity to try and think about where my priorities are, and although I'm not putting a lot of time into the gaming side at the moment, that's just it's just temporary while I get back into the routine of what's happening now. So that is it. Thanks for your question, Rudy. A bit of a deep one that. And moving on, Assassin asks a question which is kind of related to my end of my answer there. Just curious, what are your plans for the channel's growth long term? Will you be making the same content as you are now and hope the algorithm recommends it more, or do you have other plans? Plans for the channel's growth. I mean, this has been my obsession for the last 2 years, 3 years even. Plans for the channel's growth long term. And it gets to the point where you just obsess over it so much and you realize you've got so little control. There's very little of what you try to affect has any effect at all. Any changes you make, anything you do, doesn't really make a difference. If YouTube decides to click their fingers and give you less than 10% of the revenue made like last month or whatever, that's what will happen. So in time, plans for the channel's growth long term, I think we're always working on improving what we do, for one. I think that's definitely apparent with Henry's work. I mean, I said it to him myself and I'll say it here. I think Henry's really improved his stuff recently, and I think it's become like a staple of the channel. I think people begin to look forward to his videos a lot more, and I think it's just it's like that constant improvement philosophy which will really pay off long term. And also it's about doing more of what we love. So in the past we've done stuff like, this thing's happened in the news, we must talk about it because we've talked about this kind of stuff in the past. It's like, oh yes, this loot box thing again, or it's this scandal or whatever. And it's like, well, do we really want to do that? I mean, yeah, maybe it gets 5%, 10% more clicks, maybe YouTube recommend it a little bit more, but we're only doing that because we think we have to or whatever. So the focus in future is going to be on more of what we love, and you'll see us do more reviews. We might see us do more gameplays. Hopefully when my internet gets sorted out, we'll do more streams or whatever, live gameplay, and just vary things up to find something that we're happy creating and we feel fulfilled in creating, and balance that off with what actually people want to see and what they're happy to watch on a daily basis. So it's more about quality over quantity these days, and I think hopefully eventually we'll get to a point where again we'll start amassing subscribers, because obviously the content is different to how it used to be. Subscribers are disengaging, or the old subscribers are disengaging, but we are getting new subscribers jumping on board as we go along. So as long as we focus on what we love to make and keep the quality production high and keep improving what we do time and time again, I think that long-term growth is going to be there eventually. We'll get there. Sorry, that was a long answer, but I spewed a lot of thoughts.
Well, there
you go. Hope that,
I don't really have anything to add to that, but
yeah, I think that's that ticks all your boxes there, Mr. Assassin, and hopefully that gives a little insight into the channel's future. Hopefully, with a little luck, fingers crossed, YouTube will start recommending our videos more. It's so apparent when YouTube recommends a video. You see the video from maybe 2 weeks ago now from when you're watching this, but we did a video on PS5 versus the Xbox Series X. It was one of your daily triples, right? And the thumbnail was like, people say that the difference is staggering or something on the thumbnail. And that video has been recommended. It might be some people watching this now having found our channel from that video and subscribed because of it. As soon as YouTube throws it out in the algorithm and recommends it, we get an influx of subscribers. We see loads more views, and it's just like a snowball effect. And all we need is a few of them, and then we see positive growth for a short while, and then YouTube decides to flick the switch off again, and we're back to panning for gold in the bloody down the mountains in Wales. You know what I mean? Looking for our next nugget of gold. Yep. Anyway,
it's amazing how much sway YouTube itself has over what you watch, as opposed to the quality of it. I mean, I don't want to toot our own horn, but what we are doing at the moment, especially with the triples and being such a tight bit of content in terms of like there's no faff, and the amount of people who comment saying, yeah, I like this because it's a tight thing, but YouTube doesn't like that. So it doesn't matter what you like, it matters what YouTube likes, unfortunately. But
there you go.
Yeah, it's what it is. Anyway, let's move on now to what I think is our final question, and it's the return of Metal Shark's quiz. And I am not looking forward to this one. It's going to be hard. So, quick quiz for Henry, as he'll be missing his regular jaunts into Wales, especially as the local police appear to be cracking down on Cockneys. Yeah, that was a
on a quick note. Yeah. On a quick note, right? My mum texted me the other day, right, and I'll read this because it's great. It's absolutely great. So Wales, if you don't know, it's a very nice place to come and visit, especially for those who live in countries, who don't live in the countryside, who live in cities or whatever. So my mum texted me on Sunday to say that, and quote, Rona texted me, who is my auntie, my mum's sister. Rona texted me, 2 people went into the shop in Dyffryn, which is Dyffryn Ad Dydwi, which is like in a proper on the coast of West Wales, really nice place. 2 people went to the shop in Dyffryn yesterday, followed by police. They said they were local, but his driving licence proved they were from London. Cops fined them £30 each and chucked them out of their holiday home to go back. If they are caught again, £1,000 fine. I am delighted. Cockneys coming on holiday during the lockdown to Wales, spreading their diseases and everything. I mean, get back to bloody EastEnders. God's sake, bloody Cockneys.
I think it's funny that you're mentioning this, Metal Shark, because I think you're more Cockney than I am. You live in London. I've never lived in London. Yes. I don't currently live in London. I am from Essex. I am closer to being an Essex boy than I am to being a Cockney. Nonetheless, I'll continue with the quiz. Is it a Doom Eternal related anagram, or Welsh for something Doom Eternal related? Okay, so these are anagrams of Doom Eternal words, or a Doom Eternal word in the bonkers Welsh language. Okay, so let me read them, right?
Yeah, I'll read them, and you answer, because I know them because I'm Welsh, and you don't. Or you should know them because you played Doom Eternal, although how good are your anagrams, that's another question.
One of them I know for sure. The others I'm like, nope.
Okay. First one is Blis Crueth.
That seems too English to be a Welsh thing. The vowels are in the correct places, so I think that's a Doom Eternal thing.
It is a Doom anagram of The Crucible.
Yeah. See, now you know the answer. It's fucking obvious.
It's fucking obvious. Next one. Brifo digon I mi.
I'm going to go a Welshy thing.
It is Welsh.
Something.
Hurt me plenty. More like hurt enough for me. Yeah, absolutely is what it is.
Oh, you're finding it hard, are you, Metal Shark? Get good. I hate that shit, man. The amount of people who were just like, oh, just get good. But then on, I think, my review, there was an interesting conversation about it, about, I don't like it, and that doesn't mean I need to get good. I just don't like it. And I was like, you're fucking on the money there, bud. All right,
Yeah,
next
we'll
up.
get into those comments probably.
Yeah.
Next up, Hyma I Miotra.
Welsh thing.
It is a Doom anagram.
Fuck.
Hiro Miyamoto, the writer of My Buddy
Oh.
Superfly on the bookshelf.
I mean, that's barely Doom related. I have no idea.
Well, it's
who
definitely
that
not
is.
Welsh, Henry.
I mean, all right. I'll take
Okay.
that L.
Next, Lancior Rockedi.
Doom thing.
It is a Welsh rocket launcher, dude. Unlucky. 2 for 4. Okay. Next up, Leiga Astra.
Doom thing.
It is a Doom anagram, Slayergate. Okay.
Well, that's quite a good one.
Next up, that's a 3 for 5. Next up, Chabista.
This is definitely a Doom thing, and it's Ballista.
Oh, it is a Ballista. 4 for
Great
6. Well done.
Hated that gun for ages, and then I started to really like it. Okay.
Okay, cool. Next is Chief Gadwin.
It's got to be a Welsh thing.
Obviously, the chainsaw.
Or
More like
chain flow.
Chief Gadwin, nice. Chainsaw. Rhuigo a Rhuigo.
I'm trying to think if there's a Doom thing which is 2 of the same word, but I can't think of anything. I'll go Welsh thing.
It is a Welsh thing. It's rip and tear, or the translation of rip and tear, which is like more like tear and tear.
That was my thought process.
Okay, so you got 2 wrong out of 8, so you're on 6. So you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting
It's
one of these 2 right.
It's because I'm pronouncing them so well, right? Shriek a Mank.
So this one has to be a Doom thing, and I'm pretty sure it's Khan Maker.
Yeah, absolutely. Supreme Master, ruler of the realm of Urdak. So this is the highest scoring one ever, Henry. Can you
I think so.
top it off at 8? You've got 7 so far. Next one, Trag Withal.
A Welsh thing.
It is Welsh for eternal. Well done, Henry. Henry, you've set a new record. 8 out of 10.
Cool.
That's
Oh,
amazing. Amazing. Well done.
That was intellectually exhausting.
You sussed it, man. You've sussed it. I would have got 100% of those, but obviously I'm Welsh, so I had to get all them anyway. So there we go.
Getting better at making the anagrams follow like Welsh structures, like with the double L's and whatnot.
Yes, absolutely.
Good job.
Good job there, Metal Shock. Thank you for your questions. So we're going to move on to the next segment in this podcast. Thanks for all your questions this week, by the way. Leave them on the appropriate channel on the Discord for next week. So the next segment is the Triggered Fanboy Comments of the Week. And Henry, who made the Triggered Fanboy comment this week?
So this is a good one. I do have it ready, but I'm just going to see if I can find the follow-ups, because I feel like they add to it. If I can find it on the thread. All right. Well, I'll read it to you now, and I'll see if I can find the rest later. So this is on a video that was titled something like Final Fantasy VII Remake Delivery Disruption. What is Near Replicant? And CD Projekt donates $1 million to charity. And I think on the thumbnail it was about Square Enix are unable to control when the game arrives because of the delivery disruption due to the forbidden words that we mustn't say on YouTube. So in some territories like Europe and Australia, they're shipping them early to make sure they arrive by launch day. Anyway, someone didn't like that. I don't think I said anything to besmirch anything anyone said. I just relayed information by Yoshinori Kitase and Tetsuya Nomura. Some guy didn't like it. Okay, this is The Saga of Blitz. Man, this is such a trash channel now. I ain't going to disagree with you, bud. Lead with a clickbait title to get Final Fantasy fans to see what's going on. Guess what? We already got the message directly from Nomura and Kitase. Let's just point out he spelled Nomura wrong. So if he's such a Final Fantasy fan, why would you spell Nomura wrong? Just going to leave that there. Great job using heartfelt sentiments from devs to further your own ends. Hope you're proud of the shit channel you've built. further my own ends. How? It's reporting information. It's providing news. Like, what do you want? And I guess he's trying to say, well, every real Final Fantasy fan will have already seen the announcement. Yeah, but not everyone will have. Not every Final Fantasy fan will follow the Twitter page. That's just the dumbest logic. Like, I know it, and I'm the ultimate Final Fantasy fan, so everyone else knows it. And furthering my own fucking ends. What are you on about?
It's just a simple news video. I mean, this person screams of pent-up frustration that he's projecting onto you. That's essentially what this is. Somebody's, I mean, maybe he's going stir crazy, sitting at home in isolation or whatever, and he just feels like he wants to take that out on something.
Yeah.
And he sees something that triggers him, and you know, obviously, he is the triggered fanboy comment of the week, so he's properly triggered. And he just spouts a load of garbage, which is literally nonsensical because it doesn't make any sense. If it was sensical, you could see a point, but there's no point to this, right? It doesn't make any sense.
It's an argument could be made that it's a clickbait title, but I think that would be a stupid argument because none of the information I say in the title or the thumbnail is incorrect. I think on the thumbnail I used a quote because I love using quotes on thumbnails because it's not my words, so I can feel like I can say anything. It said something like, we can't control when it arrives. And then the title was delivery disruption. It is a fact that they said they can't control when it arrives. That's why it's a quote. It's a direct quote. It's not even paraphrased. And the deliveries are disrupted. That is also a fact. So none of that qualifies it as clickbait in my mind. Fortunately, this guy didn't get any likes, but someone who replied did, from Albot, who got 4 likes and said, not everyone knows everything the moment it happens, moron. Grow up. And then commented back, clearly Final Fantasy fans are terrible. I'm like, you're right. And then, there's another one who commented back who said, fuck up dweeb bitch.
Wow. That was constructive. Fuck up dweeb bitch.
Oh dear. Well, there you go, the saga of Blitz. You are this week's Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week. I hope you know all the information about Final Fantasy that no one else does, because no one else can play it, although some people are already playing it because they've literally already got their copies. Not even journalists, actual ordinary gamers are playing it. So
there you go.
Sorry, bud.
So next comment is going to change the atmosphere a little bit. Kang Vu says, I have to say, I absolutely love this format. Short and precise. Certain other popular channels, which I probably should not mention here. One bullet point, share only one topic, repeat the same information 3 to 5 times, put in unnecessary dragged out opinions and feelings, mention the same information but slightly different worded 1 to 3 times, put in predictions of what they think will happen next, which turns out to be false most of the time anyway, state the same piece of information but slightly different again, just to get the video over 10-minute mark. Sure, they need the income, but goddamn, it's annoying. Yeah, I know I don't have to watch them, but I can't resist the urge to get brand new gaming news and click on those, only to get annoyed yet again and close the video after 3 to 4 minutes. Glad that you guys are there to save my day. Thanks, PGG. There you go. Kang Vu appreciates the format.
And I think, there's plenty of potential candidates you're talking about there, but I think we can all think of a couple off the top of our heads.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the same note, Brigand Boy says, I'm glad you guys have gotten dialed in on format and delivery. You've gotten better and better over time at giving us good information without an overarching bunch of bias. Thank you for keeping it up, even during lockdown. And that was on your, that's the balance out that Triggered Fanboy of the Week comment on the...
Thank you.
On that Final Fantasy Remake delivery disruption video. There you go. Getting better and better. That's the objective.
That's all you can hope for. So I've got one here, and I think it's from last week's podcast. And I'm saying this because my girlfriend is on the other side of that wall, and I hope she hears it.
Speak up, dude.
Last week's Triggered Fanboy was really long. It was 200 odd words, and I said something like 200 words about something I didn't say. Now, Daniel Clark Hughes, regular commenter, good fan of the channel, friend of the show, that's the expression I was looking for. He's commented on last week's podcast saying, 220 words about something I didn't say. every argument I've ever had with the wife. I think that is super accurate.
A lot of people identify with that, right?
Like it's even if the wife has a point or the girlfriend has a point in that moment, doesn't change the fact that it's like I didn't fucking say it. You're making it up.
There you go. So the next comment was on your Doom review, and Torva Mosarom comments, finally, someone willing to admit the changes might not be for everyone. And a lot of people identified with that, clicking 21 thumbs up on that one. So I think this is symptomatic of when the reviews come out, everyone's gushing over it, and it's difficult to buck the trend and go against the... I saw one YouTuber get absolutely panned for his criticism of it, and then like maybe a week or two later, people calmed down a bit, they moved on to other games, and they don't have so much blast back. I mean, you know, how do you feel about it?
I mean, like, that's absolutely right. I mean, I like the changes, and I kind of made the angle of that review to be like that, because I know since I've seen the audience response, unlike other reviews who have to release their review on day one, I could see that a lot of people were complaining about it, and I was like, well, I disagree with you, but I can absolutely see why. So I made a point to make sure that the review was kind of angled like that, and that's something when a reviewer gives a bad opinion or a negative opinion about a game or whatever, people who haven't even played that game will come out and defend it to the ends of the earth. And I'm like, you haven't fucking played it. And even if you had, it's still their opinion. So why do you give a shit? If you're clearly, because you're that passionate about a game you haven't played, you're still going to buy it anyway. So why does it matter? So, I don't know, I try to approach it slightly differently and be like, well, a lot of people aren't going to like it because what they like about Doom 2016 is the freedom and the ability to run and gun, and it's an enjoyable, thoughtless action game, whereas Doom Eternal is different, and it's not wrong to not like Doom Eternal because of that. And that's why I think at the end I was like, if you're looking for just running and gunning and, you know, free-form fun, just play the original 2016 version and don't buy the new one. Save your money.
Yeah, there you go. You got any more comments?
I did have a good one, but I seem to have lost it. Where are we? I think it was on the Resident Evil video, but I can't find it. Oh well, I can't find it.
Yeah, I haven't really got any more, and I think my internet's starting to break up, so I can hardly hear Henry's just breaking up. So it might be a good time to wrap up proceedings now with the final segment of the day. It's the bad dad joke of the week. All right then, Henry, are you ready for the bad dad joke of the week?
Let's do it. We all need a bit of uplifting in these dark times.
Yeah, and talking of like not being able to get your haircut, how does the moon cut his hair?
I don't know. How does the moon cut his hair?
Eclipse it.
For God's sake.
I could do with a bit of a clip. I'm getting a quiff already, man. It's getting bad. Like, never mind the apocalypse, man. My hair's I have to get my kids to cut it or something. That'll be fun.
Grow a quarantine hair.
Just not cut my face at all and just let it all grow and just be total
This is the
beard.
extent of mine. My beard is not a very good beard, so I keep it short. Anyway, enough beard chit chat. Shall we call it a day?
Let's call it a day. Thanks everybody for watching and joining us on this journey, which was podcast number 56. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the channel, if you watched this far, you're probably quite entertained by what we've produced so far. Head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and support the channel. It really does help us out to negate all the volatility of YouTube. So we really appreciate everyone who does take that choice. We will see you again in the next video, and until then, bye for now.
Bye.